Howdy, boys and girls. How y'all doing today? Mr. Willard here, and I got something to show you. I got a slingshot. Look at that. This comes in really handy because I got a bunch of ammunition right here to shoot. Those are garbanzo beans. And if I have a stray dog or cat get in my yard and I don't want them around, I'll put one of them beans in that pocket, and then I can pull back on this bean flip and away it goes. I have yet to hit a dog or a cat, but they think I'm going to hit them, so boy, they take off. Away they go. Now, you know, slingshots are mentioned in the Bible. Yeah, David had a slingshot, only it looked a little different than what mine did. Just about like that. Now, there's two strings with a pouch, and what you do with a slingshot, you have a loop at one end. You put that on your finger so you don't throw it away when you do the rock, and then you have a knot at the other end that you hold on to. Now, I've got some smooth rocks here. Those are just like the ones David picked up out of the stream. Just like that. Now, to make this slingshot work, put a rock in that pouch, go around, and that's what David did. Now, David wasn't in the army, and the Philistines, at that time, they would come into the country of Israel and they would steal stuff and they would rob and take away toys from the children and just mean. The Israelites got tired of it. So Saul raised an army and said, we're going to get rid of these Philistines. We're going to run them out of the country. So they got an army, and the Philistines got an army, and they met. Philistine army on one side, the Israelite army on the other side. But there was a big guy in the Philistine army. He was big. He was 9 feet tall, big old shoulders and big muscles and mean looking, and had a big old long knife called a sword and a spear. And he would walk out in front of his army and look at the Israelite army, and he said, I got a god of wood in there that my idol promises me that we'll win. He said, so he challenged the children of Israel, said, send one man out and us two will fight. He said, if I win, then y'all be our servants. If y'all win, if he beats me, then we'll be your servants. That way the whole army don't have to fight, and just two men will fight, and who one will win and one will lose. So children of Israel were afraid because this was a big guy. Boy, he looked mean. Big old muscles. Woo! Didn't want to fight him. Nobody. Saul was the biggest guy around, and he was the king, and he wouldn't even go out there. Well, David, at that time, he was real young. He's too young to be in the army, but he was at home, and his mom and dad said, David, take some food to your brothers in the army and see what's going on, see how they're doing. So he went up there, and David got there about the time Goliath walked out and said, you puny Israelites, he said, you think you serve a God, but you ain't got no God. He's puny. He's scared too. You see him around anywhere, but I got my gods in my tent. I got me a god of stone, and I got me a god of wood, and I worship them, and they help me, I think, you know. But anyway, y'all's a bunch of scaredy cats. So David heard that. David said, we can't let this guy be talking about the God of Israel that way. See, somebody's got to shut him up. And he said, I'll do it. So Saul heard what he said and said, David, take my sword. And David said, okay. And he couldn't hardly pick up the sword. It's too heavy. He said, I can't do that. He said, I'm going to take my trusty slingshot, and we're going to take care of this Philistine right now. So he got his slingshot there, and he went down to the creek, and there was a creek between them right there at the bottom of that valley. So he walked through that creek, 5 smooth stones. Now, David knew that when we do something for the Lord helps us. Paul says in Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. And we do something for the Lord, boys and girls, he'll help us. David knew that. So he was doing something for the Lord. He said, he told Goliath, he said, you haven't just made fun of the army, you made fun of the God of Israel. You can't do that. And Goliath says, y'all ain't nothing. Goliath says, I'm gonna cut you up and feed you the birds. David said, oh no, you're gonna be the one to lose your head. So David took that stone and put it in the sling, and he ran around and around, you know, and he flung that stone toward the giant, and the Lord helped him right there, because that rock hit that giant right there in the forehead, knocked him out cold. And David ran over there, took the sword, pulled the Goliath's own sword. Yeah, pulled the sword out of the sheath, cut his head off, and the Philistines took off, and the Israelites took off after them. And that was the end of the Philistines, giving the Israelites a hard time. So boys and girls, we can trust the Lord. Anything that we can do for the Lord, He'll help us. He'll help us to be good. He'll help us to be kind, and curb our patience, and whatever we might do, what we do for the Lord, He'll help us. You know, He'll help us to be good. But anyway, let's see if this thing will work. What do y'all say? Now let's see. I got a stone right there, so we're gonna hook this on my finger like that. Now I'm gonna take this other end. Now when I'm gonna spin this around and I'll turn loose to this end, and then it'll straighten out and the stone will go flying. That's the way it works. So you have to swing it real hard. The faster you go, the farther the stone will go, the harder it'll go. So, okay, here we go. All right, let me get ready. See, I got it in the pouch right there. Okay, we're gonna do like David. This is the way David did it. Yeah, we got that old giant. Here we go. Okay, watch out. Round and round and round and round and go! Our next video may be how to fix a window. Till next time, boys and girls, y'all be good.